What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Coach Ken from Giving It a Try. Week 38, 2025. Coming to you with just another weekly athlete talk, which is now available on the podcast platform. So you'll be able to catch these talks now, not just on YouTube, which kind of has been the go-to for the last 2 years or so. But you know what? Maybe for the subscribers on the podcast, and for the coached athletes, they'll be able to now put this on during one of their runs real easily or in the car ride, and they'll be able to get caught up with everything going on. So I can touch base with them week after week on this athlete talk as well, just making it more accessible for everybody. So if you're just listening to the long form stuff and you see these athlete talks pop up there on those, that's what this is. This is just a weekly chat, a weekly talk of things I'm writing down, conversations I'm having with athletes where we are in the season of coaching and training and racing, and kind of give some shout outs and some tips and tricks along the way here as the season goes. But yes, we are going into, or really we're at the second week of September, week 38 now, and I welcome you back. Big congrats this past weekend, Ironman, Wisconsin, first time Ironman for coached athlete Jack, outstanding. Really don't have too much going on nothing big in the next week or so, but then we go into a big weekend of racing, Ironman Maryland, Jones Beach 70.3, going to be a big group of athletes checking the boxes there. So they are peaked. They are falling into the taper. The Maryland athletes are in their taper. So if you didn't catch that podcast a couple episodes ago of the peak taper and race day, that flow, that 4-week period, that really important part of your training, you might want to go back and check that out, especially if it applies to you now. And then as well for those marathoners, they're still building. Those fall marathoners are all still building into their marathons. And after this Ironman rush, they'll be trickling into their peaks, their tapers, and their race days as well. Then it'll be time for them to visualize their race days and have some fun with that. Just some thoughts and ideas out there. A couple people, I'll just touch base with them. End of summer stuff is, what's going on with me right now is, again, I'm still recovering post-op from a torn meniscus. I had it an arthroscopy surgery. I think this is week 3 now of recovery. Everything, knock on wood, is going well. Basically back to most activities except running. We're just not there yet. Don't want to force it. Maybe in another couple weeks we can start doing some run jog intervals and things like that. But we're back. We're building in what I'm in right now. It's really week 2 of a build now for me of bike building, because I can be on the bike. I have full range of motion. I'm able to put power back in, and I'm doing a very good amount of strength training to strengthen myself as well. So I figure that's just a perfect way to get after it. Now, how do you go about that, though, from a standpoint of recovery, or like how do you build when you have to take a step back? And I want to go into this at a later date and a longer episode or a longer talk specifically on this. But what I'm doing is, I know I want to go on the bike. I want to build back on the bike. I had to take like I don't know, call it 6-8 weeks, definitely off of like any power based workouts, of like really getting some power in there. Cause after found out that there was an injury, power went down, just because we were in the acute phase of that. And then we had to get, felt a little bit better before surgery, cycling wise, was able to build back just some endurance. And then we had to take a little step back from the power, get range of motion back for a week or two. So it's just kind of been up and down, just trying to do what we can on the bike. But now, because we have this full range of motion, we're back. I took my FTP that I had, I brought it down a percentage, and then I'm working back in very short intervals in Zwift and on the trainer, where we're going to bike more. Like, we are going to build our endurance back on the bike. We are going to build power back on the bike. And we're going to take that into this quote unquote off season, which really isn't going to be an off season. It's really going to be building into my season because I'm building back. But that's where we're at right now, is a strength focus, cycling focus, and then just a back to running focus. And that can take as long as it wants. That can take weeks. That can take months. I'm not forcing that, because I am able to be back at everything I want to do. And that's amazing. And that's awesome right now. So that's where I'm at with that. Just like that work-life balance, that's what I'm really focusing on. All my training time is focused on that. But every closed door opens up another door. Just because my season as an athlete didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, it also put me in a position to do better and be more present on the coaching side of things. Because again, it's that balance of athlete coach and that relationship right there. More opportunities opened up, more things are coming, tons of ideas, tons of things happening in that space, because you know me, like I got to push the envelope. I got to keep going. I got to keep doing things. And that this just gave me the opportunity now to open up some more doors there and be able to focus on that stuff and really put a lot of effort and time into that. So really cool stuff with that. Again, we're just flowing, we're working day in and day out. And it's the peak season for the athletes, and it's the peak season. If it's a peak season for the athletes, like they know the coached athletes, there's so many big races coming up. That's peak season for coaching. Like we're hitting these big races after 4 or 5 plus months of training into marathon season, putting in these pace plans together, testing people along the way. And it's like this building up. And it's just as good as racing to me as an athlete. When I was building towards these races, like you get excited as it gets closer. Like I'm getting excited as a coach, and I'm the most excited this year at this point in the year for my athletes than I have been in the last few years with that. And it's really awesome to be able to invest more time and focus and energy into them and their performances as well. So keep up the good work. You're all crushing it out there. A side note as well, it was like hot again the other day. It cooled down in the Northeast. People were rocking and rolling. They were putting good numbers up, putting good stuff up. But then we hit a morning. I think it was Saturday morning. Like the dew point was high, humidity was kind of high. People went out there and they just went, they just boom, punched in the face. That acclimation period takes like a good 2 weeks of steady progression into heat, into humidity. Your body starts to adapt. It takes about 2 weeks of consistent exposure, but you also lose it very quickly as well if you're not constantly being exposed to that. That's why Garmin does a little thing with this as well on their watch, this like heat stress score they give you. That's when it determines if you're working out above a certain temperature for certain periods of time. It's going to adjust that. And then if you don't continue to work out, it's going to bring that heat score down a little bit. So again, that's just again how they kind of measure it, but that's the way it works. And sometimes we get through the summer, we get a couple cool weeks, we think it's awesome, but then a little warm weather comes in, and that's what happened in New York City a couple years ago at the marathon. Is it cooled off, do all the long runs, and everybody was loving it. Summer miles make fall smiles, and then boom, everybody got punched in the face on race day. So if you can have the ability or the scheduling time to maybe go out midday once in a while when it does get a little warmer out, or if you know it's going to be a warm day, and you can kind of put a session or two in there when it is a little warmer out, that's going to help that as well and maybe help you for race day, especially if you have a race day coming up soon. We're not sure what the weather's going to be like. So that's definitely what you want to look out for on that. So, and another thing that we wrote down here is, as you're coming up in the season here as an athlete, as you are prepping for your races and your performances, you've been investing a lot of time and energy. I'm here to tell you that every day, every session is not going to be perfect. Every day, every session is not going to make you smile. It's not going to be fun. There's going to be days when you second guess things. There's going to be days when you say, you're going to second guess maybe if you're able to do this race or why you signed up, or you're not going to do better than last time. Regardless of if you are putting in the work or not, because obviously if there's something going on and you're just not putting in the work, that some of those doubts may be legit. But the minute you start to put down your own training, your own work that you're putting in, your own mental mindset starts to shift a little bit, and you're not all in on this, you're going to start to lose it, and you're going to start to go down this rabbit hole. It starts to stress you. And again, training stress, life stress. You've just stress yourself during training. Now you're going to start stressing yourself on the life side of it by second guessing yourself, putting all this thought and energy into negative talk on yourself. I'm here to just tell you as a coach, like that has to stop. Everything you're doing, like look at what you're doing, like zoom out again. I always say that, zoom out. If you just think a bike ride went bad or a long run went bad, zoom out. First of all, be grateful that you had the ability to even get out there and do that, because I would love to be out there crushing it with you right now on the long course stuff. Be happy, be privileged that you're out there and have a healthy body to be able to go out and even attempt these sessions, which the minute, smallest part of the population, your age, is even able to go do these things. So zoom out, be grateful for that. And then learn, like maybe you had a rough ride, maybe you had a rough bike, but analyze it. Sit down and just say, why didn't that go well? And then start to take ownership of how you're feeling and try and fix it for next time. How was my fueling during that long workout? Oh, all right, maybe I was lacking a little bit. It wasn't as good as I thought I could skate. I thought I could skate a little bit. Or You know what? The last couple of nights I really slept like crap, or I was up really late last night. I had a party last night and I knew I should have maybe pushed this workout another day. Figure out the reasons that maybe you do feel like that and then just correct them for next time. Don't be so hard on yourself. You got through it, you got it done. But again, that's the whole part of this, is to learn each time, become better through your weeks, through your training blocks, through your seasons, and really just brush up all these little loose ends. And mental mindset and the way you think about your training and think about the whole aspect of what you're doing is a big part of what your outcome is going to be. The more focus that you can put into visualizing, just analyzing your performances, analyzing your training, and just what worked, what didn't work. And all too often we have great days, but what is that? What do we usually do after that? We come home, put our stuff away, we get on with our day. We don't think about it. Even on those days, really lean into those days. Why did that day go so well? Wow, I slept really good. I ate really good this week. I was consuming enough fuel, enough energy this week. I got a really good sleep the night before. I had everything prepped. I was out the door. I got up on time and I got my session done and it was amazing. Like, think about those things as well. Analyze why days went well, so you can repeat those days. So you can do that on race day. If it's working, do it again. So that's what I have to say about that stuff. And, just keep knocking it out, keep doing it. Just be grateful, man, that you're getting out there and getting it done and crushing it. That's really where that point lies in all of that. Next thing here is I put out the final, rest of September, October, November, December into the coached athlete group of just races that were left with people. I was going through Training Peaks and the calendar that I keep, just making sure that I had everything set up for who I know is racing what weekend, and for last minute things people have signed up for, some like B and C races. And it's funny because we're like getting close, and a couple people are plotting some things on for 2026 already and saying, yeah, I'm signed up for this, and it's the next calendar year. So what does that mean is it's good to start thinking about that. Some people still have their A races coming up. Like, don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about next year. Stay focused. But if you're somebody who's maybe past their A race already for the year, kind of just doing what they got to do right now and just still training, great. Start thinking about it. Still a little too early to really determine what you want to do next year, but start thinking about maybe what type of events, what type of distances you want to look at. And then let's talk, and I'm going to have these talks probably starting in the first week of October, and putting this information out there for, is how to plan your year, how to make these decisions ahead of time. You don't want to just sign up for all these random races that don't really work well together if you're looking for these performative goals. And once we determine what we want to do next year or what direction we want to go in with our racing, is then it's never too soon to look at that, look at the dates, and then plan backwards. We go back to today and say, how much time do we have? Once we determine what an A goal is, we say, how much time do we have to determine going into this off season, which I don't only say is really an off season, just not a building season. We will then, for the triathletes, it's time to start self-analyzing things as well. What do you want to work on this off season? But again, don't start these talks now. I'm just throwing it out there because there are some athletes at that place right now, in that position, because they've hit these A races already. Is you don't want to think about these things in January or February and say, maybe I want to do a swim focus, I want to do a bike focus over the winter time, and really work on those things, strength focus. Like, you don't want to miss out on October, November, December, January. That is a 3 or 4 month block period of time where we can really do great things. We really can't build everything at once, because what is that? That's a build for a race. We can't hold that fitness. We just can't fire on all cylinders, but we can adjust our focus. If you're really good at one thing, maybe don't lean into that. Pull that back a little bit, because we know we're going to get it back real soon, and push a little bit in an area where we determine that you can get a really good amount of gain from. Especially triathletes, there's a lot to be gained on the bike. It's the longest portion of the race. If you're a good swimmer, decent swimmer, and you got to run, let's get that bike focused. If you're really kind of good on everything, there's just not a lot left to chip away at, let's focus on some strength. Let's get stronger. Let's get more resilient for next year. That's something that we would work on. So those are conversations that we'll start having with the athletes, and I'm going to start putting that stuff out there. We start doing some open consult calls. So if you're interested in just talking again, jump on. If you're interested possibly in coaching next year, now's the time to kind of start having those conversations. I've had plenty of consults early on, like in October, November, where we're talking, we're planning, and then they come back in a couple months. We work out some guidance and some self-guided stuff, and they say, all right, well, I definitely want to be all in on this one-to-one stuff starting in February or March. But it's always best to talk ahead of time. So especially before the holidays, because as soon as November comes along, it's just full throttle ahead. Next thing you know, it's January, and we already could have been working and doing some things for a couple weeks. So it's never too soon for the think about off season and where you want to go with that. Off season doesn't mean take off. If you want to progress and get better, again, performative goals year after year, you don't want to just take off. We can take some time away, do some other things. That is always great as well. But again, if you are solid on performative goals and comparing yourself season to season, we do have to keep this communication open throughout the off season so we can work on things as well. And then I think I'm going to just finish these videos off now with just something fun, like a quote of the week that I see pop up. I have so many apps on my phone. Things pop up all day. I have tons of motivational things flowing all over the place on phones and whatever, wherever I look. I'm just trying to feed in positivity and put out the negativity, because I'm human like you, and I got the demons of doubt from time to time too. And it's good to just reset, fill the brain with some positive stuff. And the quote of the week for this one is, life is full of surprises, and you just have to roll with it. And that's kind of, as soon as that popped up, I read it. I was like, that's 100% right now. I'm all about that. Again, look, step backs, setbacks, those surprise, it is what it is. That's what life is all about. Life is going to keep punching you in the face, no matter how hard and how forward you are going with it. It will just keep throwing lefts and rights at you. But you just got to roll with it. You got to bob and weave, take it on the chin from time to time, and just keep progressing forward, because it's that moment when you decide, nope, I'm done, or this isn't for me. I don't want to do this anymore. Once you stop fighting, once you stop pushing, once you stop trying to better yourself, that's it. Game over. Life broke you. So keep at it, keep motivated, keep grinding out there, keep getting it done. And again, stay safe, stay healthy, keep balancing life 1 mile at a time, and I'll catch you all on the next one.